All right. Hello, everybody. This is Business Owner Dad's Time for Success, the Business Owner Dad's edition. It's kind of behind the scenes. Got John Duckworth here. Sorry, John Duckworth. Oh, hopefully I can talk on the show because I keep messing up my words. We'll see what happens. And he's with True Title. And so we're going to get going. Welcome to Time for Success, Business Owner Dad's Edition. And this is Matt Barbie, your host. This is the show that we actually dig into what does success mean for business owners and how does that play out in their lives, in their families' lives, in their businesses. I'm a strategist, a business growth strategist, and I love helping people make businesses that give them the lives that they've always dreamed of. And sometimes that can be tough as a business owner, right, John?
Absolutely.
John Duckworth is our guest. He's the owner, co-owner, right?
Yes.
Co-owner of True Title Company. John, please tell us a little bit more about your company and a little bit, too, about your family.
Sure. True Title is a full-service residential commercial title company here in St. Louis.
Yeah.
We help, real estate agents, buyers and sellers close on purchases of their homes, refinance their homes. We work with commercial developers and investors to help revitalize St. Louis, build and develop St. Louis into a nicer place. Everything from rehabs of old buildings in the city to large developments in St. Charles or Jefferson County.
Oh, wow. That's great. So how did you get into the title industry in the first place?
Well, I'm one of the few people who looked at title and chose it as a career. Most people fall backwards into it after a philosophy degree or an English degree.
You have those too, though, right?
We do have those. I used to
good,
say
good.
I collect liberal arts degrees.
Excellent.
No, my background and my education was in international business, and so I spent a brief time working in Europe following college, which was an amazing time for a 23-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
To be roaming around Europe.
We could probably just do a whole show on that.
Absolutely. Things that I don't want my kids to hear about me. But while I was there, I kind of realized that the corporate world was not for me. I bumped into a few obstacles trying to get some initiatives completed and just did not find the satisfaction I wanted. So I went back home and did some soul searching as to what I wanted to do, and ultimately came upon real estate as a career I wanted, and that was to be an investor, to be a developer. And of course, you can't just jump in to become a developer. You can't just, you need a job.
Right.
So I needed a job somewhere in the real estate industry, and I didn't want to go into sales. So I looked at two places that I'd have the tools I would need to invest and develop, and one of those was the title company. And
Mm-hmm.
I got a job there at a small place in St. Charles County. Once I was there, I found out I was actually kind of good at it.
Nice.
So I invested quite a bit in the early days. That was in the boom times of the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I was able to flip properties and bought a trailer park. I was doing all sorts of things while still working at the title company. And then, of course, we hit the crash. So while I had done well in those early boom times, there wasn't a whole lot going on in real estate, and I was fortunate enough to get a job to help start a title company for a foreclosure law firm here in town.
Okay.
And while there, I was able to cut my teeth as a manager, learned how to grow a business. I think we went from something like 5 employees to 60 employees in a 2-year period.
That's pretty fast. That's pretty
foreclosure.
fast. Yeah.
Foreclosure tidal wave that hit the country. So
take advantage of it while you can, I guess.
Yeah. And then again, working for other people was never my cup of tea. But in those years in real estate, there weren't a whole lot of other opportunities, and certainly starting a business to serve the residential commercial industries, which were deader than dead, was not a good idea. But I waited for the right opportunity, and eventually, once that opportunity came around, I jumped on it and left to start my own shop.
That's fantastic. So you've got quite a bit of history with real estate development, and couldn't wait to get your own business started again, and jumped onto that. And when was that?
2013.
2013. All right. And so tell me a little bit more about your family, because I'm sure that that's kind of been a journey, leaving what you had before, starting your own business and all that too. So tell us a little more about your family.
So I've been married to my wife Shannon since 2005.
Okay.
She and I actually were friends in college. We didn't go to the same college together. We met at a conference and became friends, and that friendship developed over time and eventually resulted in us getting married.
Yeah. And so it was a conference. It wasn't a cake party. It just right.
When they're in college, it's all the same thing. A little bit of both. It was a business conference and always results in lots of parties. So. But no, so actually when I was living in Europe, she and 5 other friends came over the week of Thanksgiving to visit, and that's sort of when our relationship began. And nice. That may have also helped influence my decision to come home.
Right.
And then we have 2 boys, Finn and Elliot. Finn is 11 and in 5th grade. Elliot is 9 and in 4th grade. They're almost 2 years apart, but Finn's the oldest of his class. Elliot's the youngest.
Yeah.
And so, that certainly is a big part of my decision to be on my own. I always wanted to be that guy who could coach the baseball team, the basketball team, and be available for the school play or what have you during the school day.
Yeah.
And so that was always important to me as I mapped out my career, was being able to have the flexibility to leave at 11 in the morning to go to school or 3 to go to the baseball game.
Yeah. Well, that's that freedom lifestyle, I think, is a big motivator for a lot of folks. Did you get that immediately when you started in 2013?
No. As a business owner, freedom is it's a double-edged sword. You are free and you're never free.
All right. Yeah.
Right. I'm never on. I'm never off. I'm always on. I'm always available, but I can be available wherever I am.
Right.
When I'm doing the kids stuff, I'm not going to answer my phone, but I'll text.
Yeah.
I still have half my mind is still kind of focused on what's going on at the office or whatever needs to be done for a client.
Yeah. I'm sure, as most folks, when you started in 2013, there was a little bit of a transition for the family. I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of late nights, or were you fortunate enough to where it kind of just all fell into place?
No, there were a lot of late nights, and I had a lot of support from my wife.
That's great.
So, when we made the decision to do it, it was this joint decision. Hey, we're making a good living at this job where I work for other people that I don't really care for.
Yeah.
But we're making good money and certainly quite comfortable.
Yeah.
I said, hey, guess what? We're going to go from making all this to making nothing for a while.
I've got an idea. Hear me out for a second.
So she was supportive of that decision and said, all right, we're going to cut back to the bone on a lot of things. We'll shop at Aldi a lot more frequently. We're not going to Whole Foods for a while.
Right. Aldi's is great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you got to shop at all the places, right?
Right.
It's good stuff. But so there was a lot of that cutting back, and there was a lot of, hey, I'm going to come home, but then I'm going to go back to the office, or I'm going to go sit at my computer and work for 3 more hours.
Right.
But I used to say in that first year especially, people would ask, how do you like it? And I said, well, I'm working more for less money, and I love every day.
Yeah.
And I knew, and we made an agreement. And I said, 2 years. Give me 2 years, and we'll be back. On year 3, I'll be back to where I was. And fortunately, things went well enough. We worked hard and was able to recruit the right number of people for our team that by the end of that 2nd year, we were already back.
That's fantastic.
So we really only had to take that step back for 1 year before we got back to where we needed to be.
Good. But, it was a calculated risk, and it was important having a supportive spouse. So now, did roles kind of shift a little bit at that time? I mean, was she willing to kind of jump up and do a little bit more, but then it kind of rubber banded back the other way now that you have a little bit more freedom? Like, how did that look? Because I know, like a lot of folks, they're always trying to figure out the whole like time management piece, right?
Right.
But sometimes you have to have a discussion of, okay, maybe some role shifts in that piece. So I mean, did you guys have to kind of do any of that?
We didn't have that too much. One of the things that we both agreed on really early in our relationship was the importance of having one parent stay home.
That's great. Yeah.
With the kids when they were little, and you know, my wife decided to take on that role. And so she was already the primary caregiver at home. She at the same time I was starting the business, she was ready to start her own part-time business as well. And that was the same age. 2013 was the year that my youngest, I guess, was about ready to start kindergarten at that point in time.
Yeah.
So
lots of changes.
Once they were in school, both in school full time, she was like also able to start her little part-time business as a fashion stylist.
Oh, fantastic.
So it was exciting for us because I was also I'm entrepreneurial by nature. My wife is just, she's talent. She has skills at fashion that most people don't. And so we had that excitement of, hey, here's your business. Let's get your business cards and working on our stuff, my stuff for the company.
Oh, cool.
It was a lot of fun.
So you guys were being able to kind of work on those two ventures together, and so there was a little bit more energy around the whole like business startup thing together.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Now, did she? So during that time, she's jumping into it. You're jumping into your thing. I mean, did that create additional conflict or challenges if you guys were kind of both going in different directions, or was it just good that you guys were both excited about business startup and just diving into that whole thing?
We were both excited and we were both supportive of each other and flexible enough with what we needed to get done that we just found a way to make it work. We didn't have a whole lot of conflict in those early days outside of the normal conflict.
Right. Well,
no, looking back, it was actually pretty seamless because we supported each other.
That's great. That's great. Now, during that time, there was a lot of, time, I guess, spent each other, like working on each other's businesses and all that stuff. Now, were you guys kind of cherishing that time working together? Were you working together on each other's businesses, or did you just kind of each go off, do your thing, and then just try to make some together time outside of that? How did that work?
I think a lot for us, it was dinner. Family dinner is another thing that's also really important to us to at least now that our kids are older and doing activities most every night, but at least 3 to 4 times a week we want to all be together around a dinner table.
Yeah. Which
for my wife and I always ends with kids running off to do homework or whatever they're going to do and play.
Yeah.
And the two of us sitting there and catching up on our days and relaxing and sharing the challenges that I would have in my day. I know she usually just listens to me talking and playing, or share the joys and excitements that really she doesn't care that much about, but she's happy for me.
She cares that you care.
She cares that I care, and she's there to listen. So, and I would do the same for her. Her job is much more part time, so it's not. She doesn't have as many things to talk about necessarily on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I'm sure she's got plenty of family things though to talk about.
Oh yeah. And she's very active in the school and everything else with the kids. So, going back to kind of your why and that whole time freedom and what success ultimately looks like. Like, so if you were to say 5 years from now, or maybe 10 years from now, whenever you've reached that pinnacle of success, right? Maybe next year. What does that look like for you, and what does that look like for your family? For my wife and I, we worked on this plan a few years ago to sort of define what that success looked like. So that the idea was I could see myself just digging in, and every year I want more, and knowing when to say, all right, enough is enough. What is enough? So I knew when to slow down. So we looked at this plan, the 2030 plan we called it, because that was the year both of our kids would be nearly finished with school, with college. And that was to be able to take a step back from my daily role at the company, still be active, but traveling 3 months out of the year, wherever we wanted to go and go sit down and roots a month here, a month there, travel. But between now and then, it's being able to travel with our kids. We like to do adventure travel.
Oh, cool.
We like to go skiing every year. So to me, it was always the idea of success is being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it.
Yeah.
Which within reason, when you have kids going through school,
right.
That's always somewhat controlled. But if you can find the time to do 2 to 3 vacations a year, staying close with your family, your extended family, and seeing the world at the same time, that's a big part of it.
Well, tell me more about adventure travel. What does that look like?
Well, so I kind of started with me. It started very early, but with the family, it started with the business. It coincided. Okay. So in 2013, when I made the decision to make the jump, I had to quit my job, and I had a non-compete. So I had a period I had to sit out. I couldn't work on the new business, and my wife and I were talking one night and said, if we're not going to make money here, we can do that anywhere. So we decided to look to do a sabbatical somewhere. We went to Ecuador, rented a condo for 3 months, put our kids in school down there, preschool effectively, but and so that's where it started. So we would down there, kids would go to school Monday to Friday afternoon, and pick them up, and we'd hit the road and go see someplace in and around Ecuador, whether it's mountains or jungle or beach or islands. So it started there, and we've gone to Nicaragua. We went to Iceland this past summer, and sometimes just more fun and relaxing to go to a beach, but seeing different parts of the world is hugely important to us.
Well, okay, so you kind of like glossed over the whole like sabbatical thing when we were talking about starting your business before, like it didn't happen. So tell me more about this sabbatical. So you guys, were you working on titles out in Ecuador, or like what were you? Or were you just straight up just taking a break, just kind of putting the pieces into place? How long was this sabbatical? Was it just 3 months? Like what did that look like?
Well, so my focus was always on building the company when I was there. And, but it was also a magical time to be with my family more than I would ever be with them on a daily basis. Yeah. So the kids would go to school it was a morning session, I don't remember the time, so let's say 9 to 1. Okay. We'd ride the city bus, and I'd drop them off at school. I'd walk back to my condo, and my wife would go take Spanish lessons. And I sat at the kitchen table with the laptop, and I worked on planning aspects of the business. I was also doing some consulting for a couple clients as well. But it was a lot of me seeing what was going on back home, keeping my finger on everything that was happening, but without directly working in the business. I was just planning for the future, planning our marketing strategy, planning hiring strategy, writing the stuff that's never fun for a business owner, like policies and procedures or things like that.
Nice. So you actually had a little bit of time beforehand to actually just kind of write all this stuff out so that you could just go and execute. You didn't, because a lot of business owners, they kind of start because, whatever situations, they're just ready for it or whatever, and they kind of put all that stuff in place. So you actually had a period of time where you could really plan a lot of this stuff out. Did that help you? Do you feel like that helped accelerate your growth a little bit faster than if you wouldn't have had that time?
Certainly. It did a couple things. Obviously, it sharpened my focus onto what we were going to do as soon as we got home and hit the ground running. Yeah. But it also allowed me to decompress and relax and build up that relaxation equity, so that I could spin that over the next year when I didn't get a whole lot of time to just sit down and relax and be with the family. I was working all the time. So providing that level of rest ahead of a long grind was important. And I also have to point out that the way I joined was a little different because my partner had already gotten the business started. Yeah. I had to sit out the time. So the business was running. It was not doing well. And that was certainly my late nights there were watching the business struggle to succeed and losing money month after month. And so there were those moments where I'm going, what did I do? And are we going to succeed? Are we going to make it? Why did I make this jump? I'm going to come home to this company that's really in the hole. It's just getting out of the gates and it's struggling.
Wow.
But that was part of our partnership, and I knew that's my role was
business development basically. Is that
actually it's the opposite? I'm the operations guy.
Oh, okay.
Partner's the business development.
Okay.
So he was able to get the business in the door.
Okay.
He's not the operations guy, so he came in, revenues went up quickly because everybody came, but they couldn't service it, and then those clients started to go out the door because the service was poor, and so my job was to come in and stabilize it and really build the operation from the ground up.
Well, I think that's really insightful, though. Because oftentimes people are kind of good at like one or the other. Like they're really good at sales and business development, but when it comes to the follow-up and fulfilling on those promises, that can be tough. But fortunately, you had a good partnership where you could kind of balance and play off of each other pretty well.
Sure. That's a double-edged sword as well. It's really important to have the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
To offset our strengths. But the other side of that is the challenge is that you don't see eye to eye on a lot of things.
Right.
Because you are such different people. And that's one of the things that I think isn't talked about enough when people are starting businesses is the challenges of navigating a partnership. Because that's probably one of the more significant challenges we have every day is our partnership. And I joke with my wife and my business partner that I married the same person in life and in business because they kind of have a lot of the same tendencies. That's not fair to either of them. It's a joke, but your business partner is like another spouse because you are married financially. Your futures are intertwined closely. So if you don't get along both personally and professionally, it can lead to a lot of challenges. It's important, just like in a marriage, communication is incredibly important, and
absolutely.
And so that's certainly one of the bigger challenges that we've navigated over the years.
Yeah, partnerships definitely can be tough because a lot of folks like having that person to fall back on. If they have some other ideas to bounce ideas off of, right? So you have somebody like that, but when it comes to the differences, so what do you guys do to resolve? Is there like a certain strategy that you guys use? Do you just like go and whiteboard everything out, and then, or do you have to like bring in a mediator, or like?
Well, early on,
it was fight it out. Like, all right, whoever wins, right? It's just bare knuckle. I'd like to say that we have this perfect strategy and that we get through it, and that we're just always on point and getting that. And that's not really the case in reality. Early on, we established what our roles would be in the company, and I think that was important in really saying that this Duckworth, this is what you're going to do, and Banjack, we're both Johns, so that's why go back. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Banjack, you're going to be doing X, Y, and Z. So by differentiating that and establishing that our roles very, very succinctly, that has helped avoid a lot of the conflict.
That's good. That's good.
And I am. John also has a law firm that he operates separately, so I am very much in and on the business more so than him. And he's deferential to me, but he's that guy that we can go back and forth to just talk about strategy, to talk about ideas or problem solving and troubleshooting when those things come up. So because of that role differentiation early on, it's really helped avoid most of the conflict.
So did you guys like draw like an org chart and kind of where you filled, or where you fell into that, or did you guys just kind of like lay out all the different roles and just kind of list it out, or how did you guys?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much just if I'm bullet pointed, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what you're going to do. But that's not something that's static over time, and it's something that needs updating. And those aren't fun conversations to have sometimes because you have to be candid with each other about where you're falling short. And being able to listen to that constructively to get better. So those are conversations have to be ongoing. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, we're running short on time. I want to make sure that you give everybody a chance to know a little bit more about, like, really quickly, if you got like 30 seconds, how you help your clients, and then how people can find more information about you.
Right. True Title, we pride ourselves on our problem-solving culture.
Okay.
Most title business is simple. It's easy. 90% of it anybody can do. But when you run into that one deal that you can't get across the finish line, that's where we come in because we're able to get those deals closed. You can find more about us at truetitle.com, and we're happy to help.
Well, thank you, John. I really appreciate it. This has been Matt Barbie with Time for Success here with the guest John Duckworth. And again, it's truetitle.com is his website. And if you need any more information about running into, or if you run into trying to close on a house or a commercial deal, right?
Right.
Residential or commercial, and you're stuck at a stuck point, they've got some creative solutions. And again, this is Matt Barbie, business growth strategist. And if you're looking to try to grow your business, or you're trying to create a business that's going to give your family the life that you guys always dreamed of, please reach out, 314-441-5423. All right. Thanks, John, and thanks everybody for watching. Hey, Zach and Mercedes. Good to see you guys.